Joe Burrow showing up to an NFL preseason game with the Nike swoosh literally painted off his cleats sent the sports world into a spiral. The man holds the largest contract in NFL history, earns millions off the field, and just signed a shocking new deal that has brands across America paying very close attention. So let's walk through exactly how Joe Burrow leaving Nike and signing with a brand that has nothing to do with football became one of the biggest business stories in the NFL. Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow concealed the Nike swoosh logo on his cleats before an NFL preseason game. That sentence alone, short, blunt, undeniable, broke the internet. Not a tweet from a burner account, not an anonymous tip from a source close to the situation. This was something everyone could see with their own two eyes. Week 1 of the NFL preseason kicked off with the Bengals taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Burrow took the field for pre-game warm-ups and made a big fashion statement in the process. Burrow warmed up in Air Jordan 1 mid-shattered backboard cleats, but the black Nike swoosh logos were painted over by a custom artist. Think about that for a second. This is not just a guy changing his sneakers. Joe Burrow is widely considered one of the most fashionable players in the NFL. When Burrow is not leading the Bengals offense, he regularly pops up on magazine covers and red carpets. So when Joe Shiesty makes any adjustments to his personal style, it becomes news. So when the man who is as famous for what he wears as for what he throws walks onto an NFL field with no swoosh on his feet, that is a statement. That is deliberate. For an athlete of Burrow's stature, whose fashion choices are dissected as intently as his throwing mechanics, such a move is rarely accidental. The internet responded the way the internet always does. The internet was quick to react. Social media platforms lit up with theories and jokes about Burrow's bold fashion statement. One fan on X quipped he had to get the Temu version since the Bengals organization is broke, while another offered a more analytical take. Looks good. Must not have a beef with Nike though, cause he's wearing their socks. Other comments compared the minimalist sneakers to the 2K generics, or stock shoes your NBA street player starts in. But underneath the jokes, people with knowledge of how athlete endorsement deals actually work were drawing a very different conclusion. The absence of the swoosh on Burrow's footwear is a glaring signal in the world of athlete endorsements. Industry experts interpret such a move as a clear indication that a player's existing contract with the brand has either expired or is in serious jeopardy. And it did not stop at one pair of shoes. Burrow wore the Air Jordan 1 mid-panda cleats with concealed swoosh logos during preseason practice. This was now a pattern, a second pair, a different game, the same message. At this point, the question was no longer whether something was happening between Burrow and Nike. The question was what was going to replace it. And to answer that, you have to understand what Joe Burrow had already been quietly building off the field. Because this did not come out of nowhere. Most NFL players' footwear contracts expired during the offseason. So far during minicamps and training camps, Chicago Bears quarterback Caleb Williams and Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen had already signaled they were signing with New Balance. It was possible that Burrow was a footwear free agent, which would instantly make him a target for every major sneaker brand. Joe Burrow's Nike swoosh drama became a symbol of something much larger. A quarterback at the peak of his on-field power, beginning to rewrite the rules of how he shows up off it. To truly understand the weight of what happened with Nike and why the new deal that followed sent shockwaves through the sports world, you have to understand who Joe Burrow is as a business entity. Because the football contract is only the headline, and the headline does not tell the full story. His 2023 5-year, $275 million contract extension with the Cincinnati Bengals makes him the highest paid player in NFL history on an annual basis. It carries $219.1 million in total guarantees, with $146.51 million locked in at signing. Those are numbers that put him in a different tax bracket from most humans on earth. And yet, Burrow's relationship with money goes far beyond the Bengals' wire transfers. When Burrow signed his rookie deal, the Bengals quarterback explained that he planned to save his NFL paychecks and live off his endorsement money. Something that other legendary athletes like Shaquille O'Neal and Rob Gronkowski also did. Read that again. The man who holds the largest contract in NFL history decided early on that his NFL salary was his savings account. The endorsement deals were how he intended to live. So what does that portfolio actually look like? Forbes estimates Burrow has made at least $4 million from lucrative contracts with brands including Alo, Kroger Health, Guinness, Nike, Nerf, Fanatics, Buffalo Wild Wings, Bows, Lowe's, and more. It's safe to say that the $4 million is a conservative one, considering how many deals he has. Joe Burrow has engaged in endorsement deals with 20 brands, across diverse categories such as fashion and apparel, clothing store, sports and hydration drinks, and more. 20 brands. A roster of partners that reads like a lifestyle magazine. Beer, audio equipment, sports drinks, apparel, home improvement, fast food, and finance. This is not an athlete who signed whatever was put in front of him. This is a man who built a brand identity. His deal with Body Armor was a signal of where things were heading. Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow agreed to a deal with Body Armor sports drink, which Coca-Cola owns, announced as a multi-year partnership. He joined a roster that includes San Francisco 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey, Dallas Cowboys wide receiver CeeDee Lamb, Cleveland Cavaliers shooting guard Donovan Mitchell, and Atlanta Hawks point guard Trae Young. As part of the partnership, Burrow was featured in national advertising campaigns, digital and social media posts, and local retail events in Cincinnati. But the deal that most clearly foreshadowed the Nike situation, the partnership that revealed where Burrow's brand identity was actually gravitating. Burrow had already flirted with other brands in the past. The 28-year-old is an ambassador for Alo Yoga and is an outspoken fan of the brand's footwear. In fact, the Bengals' social media team shared an Instagram video of Burrow arriving in Alo gear from head to toe. That last detail matters. His own team's official social media was amplifying his Alo content, and this was before the cleat story even broke. Burrow was not hiding where his loyalties were shifting. He was wearing them on his sleeve and on his feet. Needless to say, Burrow is set for life financially, so that his money makes money. Joe Burrow's off-field empire was quietly becoming as important a story as anything happening on Sundays in Cincinnati. And the next chapter of that story had a very specific name on the label. It does not make cleats. It does not make helmets or pads or anything that touches a football field on game day. Built on the principles of wellness, movement, and mindfulness. The health conscious. The people who treat their body and their aesthetic with equal seriousness. In other words, it is the perfect brand for Joe Burrow. One of those stars is Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow. The NFL Pro Bowler headlined a star-studded campaign to help launch Alo Yoga's second sneaker. Inspired by movement and performance, had unveiled its latest innovation, the Alo Runner. Burrow joined Matthew Noska, Jordan Rand, and Raina Vallandigham in the Alo Runner campaign. It was designed to strengthen the company's commitment to mind-body harmony, getting Alo into the hearts and minds of runners everywhere. This was August 2024, the runway before the swoosh removal. Burrow was already in Alo's world before he took a paintbrush to his Nike cleats. But that partnership did not stop at shoes. It grew. It deepened. It expanded into something that looked less like a standard athlete endorsement and more like a genuine creative alignment. The yoga brand announced the Conquer collection, its latest venture with the reigning NFL passing yards leader. The athletic apparel and lifestyle brand, renowned for its premium athleisure gear and focus on core tenets of wellness and mindfulness, said in a statement that Burrow's own skill set serves as inspiration for the collection's prized pieces. And the language Alo used around Burrow was not the language of a brand that bought an athlete to push a product. It was the language of belief. Known for his calm under pressure, relentless drive, and unmatched mental toughness, Joe Burrow shows up when it counts, on and off the field, Alo said on its site. His approach mirrors the mindset behind every piece in this collection. Focused, consistent, and built for the long game. The language built for the long game is doing a lot of work in that sentence, because that is exactly what Burrow is constructing off the field. A long game that runs parallel to, and in many ways outlasts, his football career. Notable examples of his brand partnerships include Alo, with whom he started a brand endorsement in February 2025, Alo Men, beginning in May 2025, and Alo Yoga, initiating a product collaboration in August 2024, layered across multiple product lines and timelines. This was not a one-off campaign. This was a commitment. Alo and Burrow's partnership began the previous September, when the Pro Bowler starred in an ad campaign rolling out the brand's new line of running shoes, with the signal caller leading the helm. Burrow was also recently spotted wearing some of the brand's flagship styles in a pair of preseason games, a steep departure from his typical flashy pregame attire. He was wearing aloe to games, to practice, to everything. And every time the cameras caught it, and they always do with Burrow, it registered as earned media worth more than any paid placement. It doesn't take much for Burrow to go viral these days. In fact, it turns out he can even revisit old ad campaigns to get social media buzzing again. Burrow took to Instagram to share footage from an advertisement he shot the year before. The post quickly went viral across multiple platforms. The Conquer collection was not a deal. It was a declaration, and the timing right in the middle of the Nike swoosh drama. Either way, the world was watching, and what it saw was Joe Burrow walking out of Nike's shadow and directly into something new. No story about Joe Burrow's off-field decisions can be told without understanding what was happening on the field at exactly the same time, because the two timelines are more connected than they might appear. The brand moves did not happen in a vacuum. They happened during one of the most turbulent stretches of Burrow's NFL career. The 2025 NFL season didn't go as planned for the Cincinnati Bengals, with superstar quarterback Joe Burrow playing in only 8 games, and the team limping to the finish with a disappointing record of 6-11. That record was not just disappointing in isolation. It was not a banner year for Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals in 2025, as they missed the postseason for the 3rd consecutive season, and had their worst record since Burrow's rookie season in 2020. 3 straight years without a playoff appearance, for a team built around the highest-paid quarterback in NFL history, for a man who just 2 seasons before had led the league in passing yards and touchdowns, setting career highs across the board. The contrast was brutal. Returning from wrist surgery, Burrow had finished the 2024 season with a career-best 4,918 passing yards and 43 touchdowns, leading the NFL in both statistics. He became the 3rd quarterback to have at least 4,500 passing yards, 40 passing touchdowns, and fewer than 10 interceptions, joining Tom Brady in 2007 and Aaron Rodgers in 2011. Burrow won the Comeback Player of the Year award, joining Chad Pennington as the only player to win the award twice. That is the level he plays at when healthy. And then 2025 arrived. While the Bengals got off to an uncharacteristic 2-0 start, Burrow was unable to finish their Week 2 contest, as he left with a turf toe injury. That injury caused Burrow to miss Cincinnati's next 9 games. During that stretch, the Bengals went 1-8, as their playoff chances dwindled. Joe Burrow expressed his frustration at the end of an injury-plagued 2025 season. The Bengals quarterback said he needed to have fun. If he was going to keep playing football, missing 9 games wasn't fun, and neither was the team missing the postseason for a 3rd consecutive season. Those words, "needed to have fun," if he was going to keep playing football, ignited a firestorm. Questions about the long-term future of Burrow arose when he first mentioned in December that he needed to have fun again. Speculation ran wild after Burrow's comments about needing to have fun. If he wanted to continue doing this, on Wednesday, Burrow was asked if he could see a world in which he wasn't playing for the Bengals in 2026. He couldn't, but the trade speculation did not die quietly. Adam Schefter noted the Bengals were entering a crucial season regarding Burrow's future. This is considered to be a hugely significant season for Joe Burrow and his future in Cincinnati. If the Bengals cannot turn it around, some have speculated about whether Burrow might wonder whether he is better off playing in another NFL city. The question is Joe Burrow joining the Pittsburgh Steelers became one of the main questions in the rumor mill, after former Steelers linebacker James Harrison fueled the fire. Bleacher Report published a full analysis of where Burrow could end up if things went wrong in 2026, listing the Vikings, Saints, Falcons, and Jets as potential landing spots. Every major outlet was running the same exercise, the same thought experiment. What happens if Joe Burrow actually leaves? Joe Burrow, who suffered a turf toe injury in 2025, was adjusting to his cleats and overall preparation, with a hope to avoid similar issues moving forward. Burrow was weighing whether to keep the carbon fiber plate in his cleat next season after adjusting to it last year. The cleat conversation, which remember is now inseparable from the Nike conversation, was not just about fashion or brand deals. It was about health, about keeping himself on the field, about building a 2026 season that finally delivers on the promise Cincinnati has been waiting for. The off-field deals and the on-field turbulence were feeding each other. A man navigating repeated injuries, a franchise in flux, and a fan base growing restless was simultaneously building an off-field identity so strong that it no longer needed the NFL to define it. The 2025 season was the crucible, and what came out of it was a version of Joe Burrow, who knew exactly what he was worth in every market. Here is where we pull back the lens and see the full picture, because the title of this video asked a question, and that question deserves a real answer. Joe Burrow did not retire. He did not submit a trade request. He did not walk away from his $275 million contract with the Cincinnati Bengals. There is no credible indication that Joe Burrow is actually leaving the Cincinnati Bengals, despite a report that quotes an NFL executive suggesting there will be some action in that regard. What Joe Burrow did was leave Nike. And in the world of athlete branding in 2025, that is its own kind of earthquake. As of August 2025, the situation with his Nike deal is unclear. His appearance in logo-less Nike Jordans strongly suggests his previous contract had either expired or was being renegotiated, and he is likely exploring offers from other apparel companies. It is possible that Burrow is a footwear free agent, which would instantly make him a target for every major sneaker brand. And while every major sneaker brand sharpened its pencils, Burrow had already made his move. The Alo deal, the Conquer collection, the Alo Runner campaign, the Alo Men partnership was the answer. That sells a mindset as much as a product. The intrigue surrounding Joe Burrow's Nike contract is a powerful reminder that in modern sports, an athlete's influence is measured, not just in yards and touchdowns, but in cultural impact and marketability. And Burrow's marketability extends far beyond the football calendar. Burrow, who attended the Met Gala this year for a second straight year, spoke on the Bengals improving around him over the last few months. In an exclusive interview with Vanity Fair, the Met Gala, Vanity Fair, Alo Yoga. These are not the coordinates of a standard NFL quarterback. These are the coordinates of a cultural figure who happens to also play quarterback. Meanwhile, on the field, the Bengals went all in to give Burrow what he needed. The Cincinnati Bengals surprised many around the NFL when they traded the number 10 overall pick to the New York Giants for three-time Pro Bowl defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence II. As it turns out, the front office may feel some pressure from Joe Burrow to win now. Burrow responded, "I'm really excited about the moves we made this offseason. We need to get better." So it was exciting to see the initiative from everybody in the organization to realize that we're in this exciting stage. We're in our primes playing great football. Finding guys like Dexter and Brian Cook to really solidify that defense so the young guys can also kind of rise up. The man who said he needed to have fun is now saying we have everything we need. That is a shift, a deliberate, meaningful shift in tone. NFL Vice President Mike North labeled Joe Burrow a league game changer. During 2026 schedule release discussions, North confirmed the NFL is strategically placing Bengals games in late season slots to maximize Burrow's star power. Burrow is a game changer in this league. There's no real hesitation that we talked about to save some of the big ones for late in the season. As the 2026 NFL season approaches, Joe Burrow wants to win it all and etch his name in Cincinnati Bengals history in the process. Burrow is on record saying Cincinnati's Super Bowl window with him is his entire career. So here's the real story. Joe Burrow did not leave the NFL, but he did something almost as significant. He separated his identity from the brands and institutions that had always defined NFL quarterbacks. He removed the swoosh. He signed with a yoga company. He attended the Met Gala. He gave his candid thoughts to Vanity Fair. He told his front office what he needed them to do, and they did it. And now he sits at the center of what could be the most important season of his career. Healthy, surrounded by talent he helped recruit, signed to a deal that reflects who he actually is, rather than who the football world assumed he should be. His swooshless statement, a masterclass in subtle branding, successfully turned a preseason practice into a headline-grabbing business story, leaving fans and analysts eagerly watching his next step, both on and off the field. The shocking new deal was not just about money. It was about Joe Burrow deciding, very deliberately, what the Joe Burrow brand actually stands for. And that answer, calm under pressure, built for the long game, showing up when it counts, sounds a lot less like a Nike tagline and a lot more like something you'd find stitched into a Conquer collection hoodie.